Well, hello guys. Welcome to another video. We're back in New Zealand. I promise I won't be doing lots of flights in New Zealand, as you've seen in my previous videos. So I started to diversify a bit outside my little old country of New Zealand. But we're going to do something different. Wow, it's almost 20 years ago where I did my first ever flight overseas by myself when I was 19 years old. I flew, basically left from the same gate flying with Malaysian Airlines, although this is, I'll do when the 200 series comes out, I'll just do this flight with the 200 series. But my very first flight was to India with a good friend of mine, but I did the first leg from here to Kuala Lumpur to Delhi by myself, which was it went smoothly up until the India part, which was quite an interesting experience when you're a fresh-faced kid from New Zealand. But yeah, we're going to do a flight from. Disregard that one. We'll do that one next flight. But I don't have flights from to 2024 yet, and I'll do these two flights separately again with the actual correct aircraft that we're going to fly. We're going to do basically what I did. I flew from Auckland to Kuala Lumpur, then I stayed 24 hours there. We might do a little flight around Kuala Lumpur, but from Kuala Lumpur to Delhi airport, which I don't have I don't think there's any good quality level airports at the moment. So one runway is missing. So we're going to fly Delhi, New Delhi Airport, India Gandhi, I believe the airport's called. But we'll use. I've downloaded a livery in the A300, so that's almost Airbus, not quite. I did that section with the Airbus A330, Malaysian Airlines, which is in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, but I believe they're not doing liveries yet. And then from Delhi, we're going to be doing a flight to Leh, which is in the mountains, which is it's in the simulation terms, it's an easy airport to land in, but in real life, when you're dealing with mountains and winds and whatnot, I can imagine it's a very difficult airport to land at and lots of regulations and whatnot. But yeah, here we are in what was a very lovely livery of Malaysian Airlines, the old sheet line, the blue and the red. I mean, the new livery now is nice and fresh. It's keeping with the two colours, but I do like this livery, and unfortunately for especially one thing that was out of the control, this livery became very unpopular, and the aircraft itself, the 777-200 ER, was very quickly retired. But yeah, in the 300 series, can't find a 200. We don't have the 200 EA yet, which will be coming out by PMDG soon, I believe. But yeah, we'll simulate this flight, and I might revisit it later on when I can get access to the 200 and the A330. But yeah, for now we'll use this fictional aircraft the closest we can get, and then we'll do we'll swap over to the A300 and fly to Delhi, and then from Delhi we'll go up to Ladakh, to Leh, up in the Himalayas there, a very beautiful part of the country. And then from there we might do a little tour around places I went to, and then we'll come down here and we'll do a modern flight into Kathmandu with the very cool RMP approach. There's a really cool complex RMP approach you can fly into there. And then from Kathmandu we'll fly up we'll do the infamous flight to Ladakh, not Ladakh, Nepal airport, which is, not Nepal, Lukla airport. We'll be flying into the infamous Lukla airport with its with its angled runway, and then from there we'll probably explore some of the Himalayas and yeah, see where it goes from there. But right, we'll get into this flight. One thing we will do is just remind you guys when you jump in, especially if it's looking like that, just reset the don't freak out, just reset the game and it should go back to normal. So we're back and we'll discover if this has fixed this little bug by that sound it has. Oh, will it? There we go. Now we're cooking. Literally sounds like we're cooking. But yeah, here we are, and we will get this jetway attached. Everything's all been preset. One thing we will change is this TCAS is switched into the on position automatically, so turn that off, put it to standby. And now we will program up the aircraft, which, as you've guys seen previous YouTube videos, it's very easy. Oh, we don't need to do that just yet. Make sure these are connected. I might have to go through and reset my... I showed you guys how to set it roughly to the real life, how most pilots would get their aircraft. But there are a few buttons I forgot to play around with to get it to a state where most pilots, from what I understand, would find this aircraft when they get ready for the next leg, because these aircraft do fly 24/7. But anyway, we are here in the cockpit, so the first thing we'll do is we'll go to our init reference page, click on the plus in it, and enter in our departure airport NZAA, and then we'll just copy and paste this GPS position here. And now we can load our flight plan up. That's loaded up, and we can come into here and go route request, sim brief, set fuel, set payload, set route, which this one will pause for a second. Go to our flight plan. We're going to be starting off at 30,000 feet, so we can set that in while our flight plan is loading. Select thousands, scroll all the way to 30. Now we can load our flight plan, and that should bring us up with the still loading. You want to make sure all of these legs are in, and then we can now activate the flight plan, execute. We can set our departure. We're going to take off from runway 23 and take the Osra departure, 2P, translation is Upla, execute. Go to our route, performance, click on this little magic dot. You can enter this manually if you want to. That puts in our... One thing we will do is we'll go back into... we'll just finish this quickly. We'll go to legs, we'll upload the winds, execute, go to VNAV, go to descent, load. This just gets rid of all of these different requests. And we will go to our... We'll just change this to kgs. Right, that's all accepted. Make sure you push the accept button, go to our thrust limit page. Now we can get our information that we need for our departure. So import from aircraft, import the weather, calculate, and that gives us, we're going to take off, just use takeoff thrust, set our flex thing to 38. We might do climb too, because I think that sort of is more fuel efficient. I don't know if it is or not, but we'll use that. 30/4, we'll just enter in our wind. And then we can enter in our data, flaps 5, enter in our, just push this box here to get our trim, and then we just confirm by clicking these in, set this to 186, and we'll put in our flight heading, so we'll just scroll up while that's loading. 50, oh yeah, no, looking at the wrong end there. 231. That's done. We'll turn on our flight directors so we don't forget about that, and then we are basically, we'll just push the magic B button and just select that. I might go through and just set these up properly, and we are ready to go. So we will turn off our external power. We'll just do this landing dispatch just to make sure we just select a random runway. I know all of these Kuala Lumpur runways are long enough, so that's good. Now we can get rid of all of our services. Might need to change the tyres soon. I've been drifting around those corners a bit too fast there. Release all. I do like PMG. I do like how they, with the 777s, they just disappear. You don't have to wait around if you're not using those various different platforms for your... What I'm going to do is going to set this to when I departed in real life. I'm sure I left about around about 11 o'clock, so we'll try and get it down as closely as possible to what I did in real life. Arm all the doors, go to our ground connections, have the handbrake on. I'm going to remove the chocks. Forgot to remove that first, but that's okay. We can come down here, we'll do our checklist. Sometimes you have to push the parking brake just to get that to show up. And we'll just have this on our legs page just in case we ever need it. Flight deck door is closed. We can now turn on the seatbelt signs, turn on these pumps, and we've got a full aircraft for this flight, so all of these can come on, and beacon light can come on. We're basically ready to do our trim once we're powered up, and we are just in here, so we taxi down through this taxiway and then follow A for most of the, we'll just follow A all the way out, come round and take off from the very end of the runway, and that will be us. So we'll get my tug, release the parking brake, and we can now reverse out. And I'm just going to pull back right round. I've got my cat meowing at me for some attention, so I'll give her some food while the engine is starting up. The joys of being a pilot in your home, on your couch, or wherever your computer or your laptop is set up. So I'm just gonna not worry about the engine, so I'll just do this so I can go feed Pussycat. Stop the tug there, put the handbrake on, release the tug, and we will start engine number 1 in first. Start. And I've just remembered, change that to stem to turn on the transponder. Right, I'll go feed the cat, and I need to remember to change my controls to the 2 engine controls. Right, well, the cat's eating its little snack. We'll better get this plane up in the sky. Engine number 2, or is it the other way around? I can't remember. No. We'll just go left engine. And while that's powering up, we'll just click on that because we're going to do the trims now. So we'll set our trims for takeoff. Flight control, you have to select the flight control button to get it. We can actually just use this too as well. So our trim is going to be 5. And that's on 5, and you just check if that's on 5 there. Perfect. We can just check our flight controls, make sure they're all working. And while I remember, I need to change my controls to 2 engine operation. Like I say, I need to go for a bit here and sort of rename them properly, but and for some reason the flaps will deploy, and the spoilers too, but we want flaps 5 for our takeoff. And we'll select terrain, position, data. We'll have this with the airports on this side, because data just makes it a bit too cluttered for my liking. And that's the engine, both engines all started, so we can turn on the runway lights, and we can now start taxiing out. Go to our checklist. All of this looks pretty good. Flaps are set. Next, and now we can now start throttling out of our Yeah, that looks good. I'll just turn this on just because it's... I don't know what that one does, but we'll turn it on anyway. Departing Auckland, there's 2 Malaysian aircraft there, the old A330s there. Can't wait for Malaysian Airlines to, well, it doesn't really bother me yet, but I'm living in the UK at the moment, but we came back to New Zealand a couple of years ago and we flew on their A330, and that was, I've never really had like a bad experience flying, but that flight was the most uncomfortable flight I've ever experienced in my life. And Malaysian Airlines are usually really good, and their service from London to Kuala Lumpur was absolutely superb. But yeah, that they've now just started flying their brand new A330-900s, their Neos, into Auckland, which is great for those passengers. But yeah, that I believe they got them from, it's one of those, they had to buy a whole lot of Airbus A330s to replace the 777s when they replaced them, and I believe they got them on the cheap from Air Berlin. It was either just on, it was either just before or just after they went bankrupt, but yeah, they Air Berlin, but yeah, they were, I think they were just all in still in their like original low cost service, and yeah, they were absolutely dreadful. Though, like, I thought Ryanair, you had no legroom, but that seat where I was sitting in, literally there was less legroom than Ryanair, and for an 11-hour flight it was absolutely pretty bad flight, that one. But thankfully they're fast being replaced, especially on their long services, long haul. So we're just going to taxi along B for a bit, because in real life all of this runway of aircraft will be rapidly exiting the taxiway. So this one is for the domestic A320s usually take this one. The one further up is for the international flights, and it's either that one or that one for the propeller aircraft, depending on how much they break. But we'll come out down here, then yeah, down to our takeoff runway. We might as well arm these, the VNAV and the LNAV, and we just trottle along down this taxiway B. Actually, we'll take this one. Remember to sort of do a little bit of oversteer, a bit of throttle up too, because you start to lose speed. And that should take you thereabouts. Slightly cutting the corners, but that's okay. Just as you follow through the turn, you sort of just ease off the steering a bit, and that should bring you bang on. Gosh, I should be a real life pilot, shouldn't I? Here we are, just trotting along. We can actually turn this on to the finding the traffic mode, and we'll keep it on terrain radar. We don't need the weather just yet, but once we're departed out, we will turn it on, and we can turn off the APU actually. Now that I remember, turn that one off. Should have turned it off a long time ago, but everything else looks pretty good. Not too sure what the door autos is. Anyway, the old domestic stand of Auckland Airport there with the ATRs, and they don't park there. That's where Great Barrier Airlines Cessnas park. And the Dash 8s usually park along this part here. And the 747 cargo there certainly does not park there, that's for sure. DHL are using a 767 at the moment. It can barely fit in there, let alone a 747, but such is life. Such a lovely aircraft, isn't it, when you look at it? Such an elegant, beautiful plane, the 777-300. Looking forward to the 200, by the way. Looking forward to the older, stubbier sibling. Alright, it's pretty much just a straightforward departure, isn't it? Depart runway 23. Fly out over the Manukau Heads. Might be able to see the infamous Piha Beach, which is the most dangerous in the country, because this is all prevailing winds, and this beach, this whole western coast of New Zealand gets battered by some big surf and lots of rips and currents out here. Great fishing, by the way, if you want to do snapper fishing around here. Or don't be around here, it's very strong currents through this little channel here. But the Manukau Harbour, lots of good snapper fishing. Although unfortunately it's quite developed around here, lots of heavy metals are leaching into the harbour there. Because this is where I'm flying at the moment, this would be 12 o'clock at night. That would be the late night Brisbane, Qantas 737 flights, the last flights of the evening. We're going to use basically the full length. We'll come right around here and turn in. Gives that Qantas aircraft enough time to vacate the runway. And we are about to depart. Can now turn on our strobe lights. Turn on our landing lights, get that ready. Rearm the logo light because it's assigned to my landing lights. Minimize this. And with these aircraft, unless you're told to stop, you just throttle up while it's still moving. You don't need to come to a complete stop. I'll just spool up the engines to about 40% or thereabouts. That's close enough. And then you push the magic toga button, which in real life is over here somewhere. But because we don't have digital fingers, we can't reach there, so that's our little... And everyone says keep your sort of elevator down until it gets above 90 to 100, then you just neutral it. And when we hit our V1 rotate, we can rotate. And my excuse for bad rotators, I like to give you guys the outside view. gear up. Go back inside and pitch it all the way up so we're staying on profile. Just for you guys, I'll sacrifice perfect takeoffs just for the outside view for you guys. Definitely, I can imagine for a lot of pilots this is a highlight departing out of Auckland, New Zealand. I can imagine for a lot of pilots this is quite a scenic departure, really. Alright, we're just going to arm autopilot now. Flaps up, and then we'll enjoy the view outside. So yeah, we're flying over the Manukau Harbour. In real life this will be all tidal. The water masking is really poor on this, but this will be full of like channels, mud flats, estuaries. Flying over the South Manukau Heads here. And this is your typical, I used to work over here, and this is your very typical, like, this was back in the early 2010s, so this will be 747s flying out, and it just, you wouldn't believe they're travelling at like 250 knots. It looks like they're just like almost falling out of the sky when you see them, especially when Air New Zealand would do the Los Angeles flights. So it literally looked like it was about to fall out of the sky as they turn right around. But yeah, flying out over here is a lovely lighthouse. If you're ever in New Zealand and in Auckland and you have a rental car, come drive out here. It's really lovely. You would not believe that there's a massive city in the distance there. And if you come out to the right to the top here, there's the what is that place called? I want to say Awhitu, but I'm not too sure if it's Whitu or go to satellite. Or is it? Oh, they just call it Wattle Bay and Manukau Heads, but there's a lovely white lighthouse there, and that's the Waitakere Ranges, which is a beautiful forest ecosystem there with rare birds, and that's Whatapu there. Really good for fishing off this rock here. I was fishing out there, caught some snapper, but some guys caught a tuna. So yeah, good fishing out there, and this is a really lovely sandbar all the way out here, and over there is Piha Beach, which is the infamous or famous beach. This whole area's got a very eerie feeling. It's usually always like misty and lots of surf spray. It's because yeah, this is a very notorious entrance into this harbour here. Lots of different bars and whatnot, and there have been a few unfortunate ships that have run aground or run aground off the actual ground, and many people have drowned. So when you know the history, it's definitely got that eerie sort of spiritual feeling. And yeah, this whole beach is just all the way along the whole New Zealand west coast. This is just a, if you like, gnarly, like, great thing about living in Auckland is you've got this gnarly windswept coastline, then you go over here and it's to the east coast and it's all like picturesque, like Fiji sort of thing. But yeah, we're well underway in our flight. We can now turn off the landing lights, turn off the our runway lights. We can now release the crew and the passengers. Everything else is looking pretty good. And we can go to the next checklist. We'll remember to go through this checklist next time. But I think we'll just leave it in air mode just to, I don't know. But what we will do is we'll go to our electronic flight flag and we'll enter these step climbs. So if you go into I'll update Navigraph too. I should have done that. Oh well. Hopefully that doesn't mess up my flight plan. It has. What we're going to do is we're going to just go into flight level change. And we're going to probably have to enter in our, oops. What we might have to do is go into here. This is just another little workaround if you ever Alright, we might have to do this manually, so let's give this a go. So we will this is the joys of when you do stuff you shouldn't do. Let's see if we can program this flight plan, eh? Alright folks, I think I've really messed this up. What we'll do is I will have to... What am I going to do? How do I do this? Oh, here we go. Phew, that was a relief. I'm probably going to have a bit extra fuel on board, but that's okay. For a moment there I thought we had to redo the whole flight plan, but we might be just okay. So we'll just enter this quickly. Perfect, we'll go back into, we'll have to, before I do that, I'll probably have to go to route. 30,000 feet. Cost index is 15. We'll just set our heading as well, just to intercept that. Intercept that down. Perfect. We potentially got ourselves out of a situation there. Right, that looks like we're anyway, hopefully that sorts itself out. Oh, we're entering our reserves, eh? What's our reserves? Hopefully that might 6 in here. Alright, let's hopefully that works, eh? Oh yeah, I think that did work. Sweet. We can now get ourselves out of that. Oh, I forgot what I was going to show you guys, but what we will do is we'll set our step climb, so it might be in settings. Unless it's already, oh yeah. I think you leave it, no, I think you turn it off, but we should now set our step climb so that rig me will go to 32,000 feet. So if we go to legs, time 32s, and then our next waypoint Tavian is 340. And then our next waypoint is BLI at 36. Execute. Now our flight plan, it should hit those. That should now target all of those altitude restrictions, and I think that is us. We'll get out, we'll turn on our weather radar, and we'll get out of the cockpit and have some nice views before we break anything else. But that was a relief. I really thought I'd have to redo the whole flight there, but I might turn that on. I'm not too sure if it's on or off. We'll do it on because we'll try it off quickly, and I'll speed it up, and I'll just go speed it up a bit, and if we get to here and we increase our altitude, that means it's working. But yeah, I'll let you guys go now. If you see me clicking in here, that means I'm just setting this. But we should be pretty good, I think. We'll cruise on out, and if it's working as it should, when we get to this waypoint, it should automatically go up to 32,000 feet. In real life, you would just like set it, but this is a good feature for us simmers. And we'll see how I'm going to speed it up to 8 times just to get it to this waypoint and see if it works. And then we'll leave you guys for that part of the flight. Oh, I'm losing my voice. And then we'll see you guys in the next part. Cheerio. Right, guys, welcome back. Well, for myself, welcome back to your viewing. Hope you guys enjoyed that warp speed across the Australian desert and also across a bit of Indonesia / Bali, the island of Bali, where I was zooming around and I slowed it down a bit, but this will probably be compressed anyway when I edit it. But and then of course we flew over Borneo there, which was Borneo / well, we flew over Indonesian Borneo. As you guys may or may not know, it's separated into Indonesia and Malaysian Borneo, with Brunei mixed in as well, just a tiny little country of Brunei there. But yeah, we're going to set up our arrival now. If you noticed, I just started before, and I was going to land. SimBrief had me marked for 14 left, but in real life they're using 32 right, so I've changed it to that. And we're going to do this. I've got another SimBrief open up, which is faster, but we're going to do an interesting star into
traffic. Monitor vertical speed. Monitor vertical speed.
Luckily it's not real life, so we just disregard that. But yeah, we are. I'll just slow this down, it's getting a bit too fast, a bit too jittery. We're going to do this arrival called Saro 1G, so this one here. And I've gone through a RMP approach with you guys in the previous video when I flew one of the, I think it was the was that the Cathay Pacific to Bangkok? It might have been, but we're going to go with the just a simple ILS approach into runway 32 right. So this arrival will take us sort of over the city here. We might be able to get views of the Kuala Lumpur, and yeah, we'll select that approach. Nice simple ILS approach, nothing too dramatic or complicated, so that's loaded in. As you know, if you see when we flew over the northern Australia there, you notice they had beautiful like water textures around the different bays and stuff. If there's one thing that's missing on this, and I believe it might be missing too on Flight Simulator 24, and that's the criminally lack of development around particularly Southeast Asia. Like there's so many of these islands have like beautiful reefs around them, and around flying over these islands in between Indonesia and Malaysia, all of these islands have beautiful reefs around them, and it's just a shame that it's not captured in particularly this game, which is a shame, because all of this would be like the Caribbean, you know, lots of different reefs and coral reefs borderlining these little islands. And yeah, it's a shame that this whole area is just, it's been criminally left out of a lot of like flight simulator games over the years. We better set up this arrival actually, just so it's there. 32 right, ILS 32 right. That's our transition, and our arrival is SAR 1G. This one here, SAR 1G. Execute, and then we'll just go for our legs to make sure there's no discontinuities, which there isn't. Perfect, so we are all set for our arrival. And as you saw too, I did have to set this auto cruise. You have to set it to on for it to engage the step climbs. And make sure when you have it set, you fill out these step climbs manually by going through your sim brief plan, because if you don't, if you have that on, it will this FMS would kind of like pre-programs the correct, like the ideal altitude anyway. But I find sim brief is usually bang on with setting your ideal cruising altitude and whatnot. But yeah, great feature. You can set this all out, and if you're one who likes to do, like, there's two camps really. There's a lot of you who want to do the whole flight in one times sim rate, which is fine, and a lot of you will probably do that overnight. So yep, you just set your make sure you turn on your auto step climb, and then you manually add in, like I showed you early on, go through your waypoints and add them in one by one and make sure you execute, and then you can just leave it to do its thing. Or if you're in like the camp that I'm in, like sim rate's there as a tool, it's there to be used, still works just as good, and you can just set your sim rate to whatever you want. And then as you can see, we pretty much smashed this flight out within like an hour and a half, 2 hours I think. We'll see what the video is running up at the moment. It's yeah, 2 hours, just under 2 hours there, so that's a 10-hour flight. So yeah, sim rate's a really handy tool, and use it in conjunction with the auto step climb. It's perfect. Yeah, so we are now coming up to the as I would call it, the mainland Malaysia. Over here is Timoan Island, which has got quite a cool little airport actually. Not that they use it that much, but stunning island if you ever want to do an island getaway. There's a resort down this side of the beach which is incredibly cheap in regards to resort prices, so that's Timoan Island. And if you go to this side of the island, there's a really cool, we stayed in a really cool like bungalow, sort of real old school combination on that side of the island, and it's got a real, like, the whole island itself has got a very like relaxed, your classic Southeast Asia relaxed bungalow sort of style. Highly recommend it. And we should set our descent altitude before this catches up on us. So in true fashion, and like if you're flying VATSIM, you'll set your altitude to what they clear you to, but we're not VATSIM, so we just set it to our final approach fix, which is going to be 4,500 feet. So then click on around where the auto button is, and you can change it to hundreds, and we'll set it to 45, and we've started our descent, which is great. Like I say, this would be such a beautiful part of the world flying in simulator wise, because there'll be lots of lovely water maskings all the way along here. It's just a shame that this part of the world has escaped the water masking team. Alright, and we want to set our minimums too, so it's 300, perfect round number, 300, oh, go this way. And if you remind me, I will like draw up the Explorer, because you guys are going to yell into my earpiece and I'm going to hear it in real world time. But I'll remember to, when I've turned off everything, I'm going to reload the turnaround state. I want to fix a few little things I forgot to do, like have that turned off and all the rest of it. So I'll do that when we arrive there. We'll do another sort of like mini tutorial on how to preset your settings. As I say, you can always do it in cold and dark if you want, but if you want to be really realistic, then setting it to a sort of a vague turnaround state is probably what most pilots will be receiving this aircraft in. So yeah, we're now flying over the, I was going to say, I thought that's the highlands up there, that's the all of this is all farmland. It looks beautiful and green, but unfortunately a lot of that is now kernel palm, which is your classic monocot biodiversity, just one species. Thankfully there's still a relatively virgin rainforest up through this is the highland areas up here, the spine of the country that goes all the way into Thailand. Potentially there's a Malay, tigers have so many different subspecies, and I believe this one is the Malay subspecies of tiger, the Malayan tiger, but I think like all of these various different subpopulations of tigers are pretty much non-existent, which is a shame, but still this is all beautiful forest. There's a really cool, what's our plane doing? Oh yeah, we're going to do this really cool little zigzaggy thing, and I think there's a little hold there, so oh no, that must be if we go around, we'll hold there, that's alright. But if you, I'll slow this right down. If you ever go to Malaysia, you guys should definitely, world map. Don't be fooled, you are flying in Kuala Lumpur Airport, but Kuala Lumpur Airport is over here, and the actual Kuala Lumpur's in here. It's a big sprawling city anyway, but I'm guessing this is real Kuala Lumpur in here, and these are the sprawling outer suburbs. But I definitely recommend, we're not going to be flying over it, I thought we were, but over here is a place called, named after me folks, no, not quite after me, but Fraser is not a common name, and it's quite cool to see places named after my name. But there's a place called Fraser Town, which is up in the Highlands, somewhere in here somewhere, I forget where it is now, but it's coming straight from Kuala Lumpur Airport. We took a mixture of the train up to this place here, I think it was, and then we got a little taxi to Frasertown, which is, I'm going to Google it, it's going to be bugging me for the rest of the flight, so I'm just going to Google where that is actually. Bear with me one second folks as I seek the wise counsel of Google Maps. It is oh yeah, I know where it is now. So this is the train station that we got off at. So Bukit, I think in Malaysian means hill, so the actual name, there it is, Fraser's Hill, Bukit Fraser. Definitely need to go there. It's a beautiful place. You're up in the misty rainforest there. We actually did like a little, be careful because there's leeches all through these forests, so make sure you wear good protection, good socks that go right up tucked into your pants. Mind you, I mean, don't quote me on this, leeches, they're pretty harmless things. They're just like creepier versions of mosquitoes. They just suck out a bit of your blood and then drop off to the ground, and that's how they reproduce. As disgusting and gross as it sounds, do we actually get anywhere near that? No, we don't. But yeah, definitely go to Fraser's Hill, man. Go to my hill, bro. You guys will absolutely love it up there, especially if it's if you come from the stinking hot capital of Kuala Lumpur and you come up into the hill, it's still humid, but it feels like you're in a different world. It feels like you're in the middle of, well, you are essentially in the middle of nowhere. Great bird life around there too. If I revisit this video, I'll try and find a way to insert photos of the past into this so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, this whole area here is all pretty much rainforests, which is great to see. Hopefully one day tigers will return to this area and other big animals like elephants and whatnot, the Asian elephants. But that's enough of Sir David Attenborough's talk, and we'll get back into seeing where we are in relation to this arrival. But yeah, we'll definitely, when the 200 series comes out, we'll definitely need to recreate this flight with the real Malaysian Airlines 777-200 ER. But this is a great substitute nonetheless. It's a shame that Malaysia never went with the 777-300s, but I could imagine after those tragic events we will not talk about in this, yeah, 777s became a bit of a unpopular aircraft, which is a shame because, don't get me wrong, the A330s are a great aircraft, but I could imagine Malaysian Airlines did lose a significant part of their capacity with those aircraft, with what they can do. They're such a universal aircraft. They can haul large amounts of freight as well as passengers. They are really, especially the 200s, they were a very capable aircraft. And I mean, had COVID not hit, Air New Zealand probably would have been replacing their 200s right now as we speak. But had they not gone over the top and just, you know, cut back on everything, I think those 777-200s would have been much appreciated right now at Air New Zealand's fleet, considering they're having a lot of issues with their 787s, not to mention their domestic Airbus A321s, effectively gliders at the moment. But such is life. Hopefully they'll get through the other side. We might as well turn on our landing lights and just get set up for our approach. And thank you guys for reminding me, but we will just slow this down a bit. We can now go push the magic B button. Oh, what I should do is turn off standard pressure, standard whatever it is. But we will, I'll just deploy some spoilers just to get it back onto profile, but we will go to our checklist and we'll go through and check this, and we will set our landing configuration. We'll go to init reference. We're just going to land at flaps 25 because Kuala Lumpur airport is quite a busy airport. Landing dispatch, we're going to land on 14 right, which, oh no, 32 right. Import our weight, we're going to have all operational, flaps free, halfway down the runway, so that's all we needed to know. Set our auto brakes to 3, that's done, and done. Next we can tick that one off the list. Speed brakes, well, we've got them out at the moment, and we'll just keep that up until all of that's done so we can go on to the next page. But yeah, back on profile now. I totally forgot about the city, folks. We'll do another city tour next time. But as you can see, man, there's lots of progress, new roads and everything being built in Malaysia, and unlike its more beautiful sister Thailand, Malaysia, I recommend Malaysia for anyone. It's I mean, culturally wise, it's totally different from the Buddha, or more liberal, I should say, Thailand, but Malaysia is the culture just seems more genuine and more friendly, you know, just more polite. People are just really, really helpful, I found, when I've been in Malaysia. Not to say Thailand is any... just, you know, like Thailand has definitely got that gritty side of tourism that's probably not the best, and it's sort of evident throughout most of Thai, like the tourist side of, you know, the Thai tourism. But I mean, there are some beautiful, lovely, genuine Thai people. Always got a smile on their face. Absolutely love going to Thailand. But Malaysia is like, it's equivalent of when we went to Korea. Like everyone thinks of Asia as Japan. Like it's probably the same as Japan and South Korea. Everyone raves about Japan, and South Korea is basically right on par with Japan with every aspect, like high-speed trains, being a developed nation, food, but it's cheaper. I think Korea is cheaper, and it's a bit like here. Like, I mean, Thailand's probably still cheaper than Malaysia, but it is the sort of the forgotten part of, you know, tourism in this area. We're same with Korea and Japan. Everyone flocks to Japan, but Korea has the if you're into that hentai sort of art culture, Korea's got that too, and it's got the cherry blossoms. It's a forgotten part of the world when it comes to everyday generic tourism, and Malaysia's the same too. It's got beautiful beaches, great food. Not if you're not into your I dare say not everyone's into shrimp paste in every part of cooking, but can be a bit overpowering at times. But apart from that, I better put some flaps down, and I'll go into manage. Click on that. If it stays in VNAV path, then you're good, so I'll just keep our speed up a bit. But yeah, nah. You could actually the speed brakes, or the speed brakes. But yeah, it's a nice view. Where I live at the moment, see lots of 777s flying over, and it just looks like they are, I mean, they're going like 500 k's per hour kind of thing, but it just looks like they're not even moving at all. But yeah, definitely recommend going to Malaysia, folks, and definitely recommend, I'm not very good with my getting my words out, but I'd highly, highly, highly recommend going to, especially as a stopover. Everyone stops over in Thailand. Even if you're, or Singapore is your generic stock standard stopover. But if you're doing a flight to New Zealand or to Australia, I would highly recommend having an extended stopover in Kuala Lumpur. It's such a beautiful city, lots going on. It's got a very peaceful sort of family vibe. It's got the Petronas Towers, and below that it's got the amazing water fountain display that they do, which is great for children. Really cool, highly recommend it. Or the water displays all interconnect with the music that they play, and it is so cheap. Malay, like what you pay, like we paid, argument's sake, it's just exaggeration, like 30-40 quid for 2 nights accommodation in a high rise with an infinity pool, and that was just absolutely awesome. I'm the localizer now, basically on, and we'll just see how that goes with where we're tracking. But I'm not too sure if you just arm your approach your glide slopes as soon as you hit it, or do you just wait till you get to your descent altitude first? I'm not too sure, but we will just see what our go-around speed is. Well, actually, I'll just arm this now because we've been through here a couple of weeks ago when I completely forgot about it, so we'll just arm it now. So that's all armed, and we will set our go-around altitude at 5.5. Oh, I shouldn't have crossed that. I don't need it anyway. But yeah, Malaysia is such a incredibly affordable, enjoyable destination. If as a not just a destination in itself, but as a stopover, an extended stopover. I might take the helicopter out, as if I got a helicopter in my garage, ready to go, which I do. But we'll do a little flight around Kuala Lumpur later on and show you guys Kuala Lumpur. Really cool city. Really, really beautiful part of the world, and like I say, very friendly people, and yeah. What I might do is I might just put flaps 10, 15 out just to slow this plane. This aircraft is very slippery, as you guys can see, but we'll see what happens. We might have to deploy our spoilers just to bring it in a bit. Yeah, your typical arrival into the misty skies of Kuala Lumpur. That generic, hazy, tropical Southeast Asia vibe that you always get when you're in these countries. And we might just lower our landing gear now. We're about just under 9 nautical miles out from the runway, where I can actually release the spoilers, rearm it again, and then just put some landing gear out. This is all autopilot too, by the way. I'm not too sure if it's usually always like this, but you get another nice view of the, we might get the rainbow view actually. Everyone loves a pretty rainbow. So we'll go into terrain mode now. We don't really need that. We'll take our speed all the way down to our reference speed and deploy the last bit of flaps, which is flaps 30. And that is our everything we need to do for our, once that flap is deployed, we will go to the next page so that checklist is all complete, and then we can just exit out of that. And we are coming into our approach. I won't open up that Google Maps again, but yeah, this will be one day another motorway going around here, I can imagine. Just make out the runway. It's a very sort of surprise. I'm sure they do have Cat 4, Cat 3 I should say, runways, because it does get quite stormy here in the what they call the wet season. So we'll just turn off our autopilot now. We can disengage the auto throttle and we can just do the rest ourselves. Alright, I'm just going to focus on landing, folks, so I don't stall and plummet out of the sky, but we are doing alright. Get it back onto the center line.
Approaching minimums. 200. Minimums. 100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
Oh, and we will just ignore that plane. And we'll take this exit here. Just disarm this speed brake. And that is us arriving into Kuala Lumpur. That was me, I just powered up a bit there to bring the flaps in, the cheap's way of bringing in, not the flaps, the spoilers, but that set off that alarm. Alright, and we will taxi back to the parking, and we will taxi, when we depart, it will depart with the traffic, just makes things look tidy, even though, and that's how we wear down the tyres doing that. But we can now go through and turn this to transponder, just to transponder mode. We can turn on the APU, landing lights off, strobe lights off. We can keep this logo light on, turn these runway turn off lights off. And we'll taxi to the nice island terminal there. Yeah, as I was saying before, I highly recommend going to Malaysia for your holiday, and I'd even more so highly recommend that you use Kuala Lumpur as your stopover as opposed to your generic Hong Kong or Singapore. A lovely place for a extended layover. People are really nice, food's really nice. Just Google one thing, roti canai for your breakfast. That's what they have in breakfast in Kuala Lumpur or in Malaysia. Highly recommend having that. The roti is like naan bread, but it's so flaky and oily and lots of layers within itself. It's absolutely divine. I should go down. I think these taxiways, it's a bit like real world. You want to be on the side of where they drive on the road, so we're like technically coming into oncoming traffic, so we'll pop over to this one, and we're going to go over there to those, find a free car park, and then we'll set our flight up for our next leg, which is to Delhi, which is going to be interesting because I think there is one Payware airport online, and it's not that good apparently. It's got bad reviews. There is a free version on flights in TO that I'm using, but it doesn't have the new runway. So we'll get the Malaysian Airlines Airbus A300, not the A330, but one day we'll have that. And we'll take off and head out to Delhi. Right, folks, we'll park up over here, and then that will be us, I think. And if you can see, that's the train over there that connects the two terminals up. About to go underground. It's a really cool train ride too, something that the kids will like when they go to Malaysia, go to Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, it's quite a cool. I mean, this airport, when we were last there, it's still an amazing airport, but it's definitely sort of showing its age. To think when it just shows you how old I am now, but when I first went to Kuala Lumpur in 2006, it was basically just, I was going to say fresh lick of paint, that's how new it was, but I think it's quite a minimalist interior that shows the industrial concrete, but yeah, when this airport, it's almost got like that Petronas Tower futuristic look to it, with that hint of, you know, your sort of typical Southeast Asia country sort of hut sort of look to it, but it is a really lovely airport, showing its, as I was sort of getting to, it's showing its age a little bit, but for an airport, when you compare it to your standard European airports, it's definitely leaps and bounds ahead of most European airports. Yeah, there's a little train there, so yeah, when you go to Malaysia and you're lucky enough to park in this island terminal, this is the free train that connects you up to arrivals and departures, and yeah, it's really cool. Especially if you're a plane nerd such as myself, you get to see all of the planes taxiing in and out. But yeah, Kuala Lumpur Airport, it's a lovely airport, lovely terminal, lovely open design. Like I did say, it's showing its age a bit, but it's still, when you compare it to most airports around the world, it is still a beautiful airport. And yeah, we'll come in here and park up in this terminal here, this stand here, I reckon. And AirAsia, they've got their own separate air terminal just for those of you. It's over there in the haze there, that's the AirAsia terminal, which is not connected up to the main terminal there, which is, I think that's a bit of a shame, but it's definitely brand new anyway. I think we'll take this next one here. Might take the little drone out and have a little look around, but now taxi onto stand here and let the passengers off. Actually, what I might do is I'm just gonna, I've got a funny feeling that's just I assumed that all of these stands on this terminal were heavy, so I'm just going to do the Y button. I'm just going to move it over here. This is highly unfactual, but we'll... Are all of these? Surely not. I thought all of these stands were... I'll just stop it at that, eh? Anyway, unless... you know what, we'll just keep it at that. There might have been an update in the actual airport where international flights are all on that terminal now, but anyway, we will see if this... Yeah, that works, and we can now turn off the engines. strobe light can come off, and we can disarm the and now we can select our, oh, need chocks first, request power unit. That's just enough clearance, but yeah. We'll have a little look at that when we exit the game, but apart from that, we can now get all your generic ground crew out, and that is us, I think. Right, we'll have a little look of the airport, with the drone while we're here, and then I can hear you guys screaming down the computer to remind me to set up my cold and dark to it, just adjust it a bit. So this is the airport. Really, I mean, it's not quite, doesn't really quite showcase, but there's a little rainforest in the middle there, which is really cool. That's that plane. There's an update that actually I just found that came out a couple of hours ago, so I wonder if this has now been converted into, that's a 777 Stan, Turkmenistan Airline. I wonder if this has all been sort of changed around now. But yeah, that was like the main international terminal that you guys arrived into. There's freight over there. I don't think there's any freight aircraft. I'll just speed this up a bit. Cargo ramps here. This is where for a long time, actually, like as recent as 2 years ago, this is where you'd see the, I did have a photo of that. There was still a couple of Malaysian Airlines 777s sitting there, which is quite eerie when you look at them, because especially in a hazy day like this, it sort of is like they're effectively ghosts, really, just that eerie sort of feeling. But yeah, this is where your AirAsia depart from, and I think they fly out of here too, Milano. But yeah, this is your low cost terminal. Yeah, when we take off, we will depart from the runway that all of the AI aircraft are using. We'll depart from that runway just over there. But yeah, this is where all the domestic aircraft park up, but it looks like there's a lot more heavy 747, 7A3. So I'm wondering if this has been changed over now to, this has always been 737s along here. Anyway, we will, there's the airport train I'm talking to you about. Goes under the terminal, then into here, and that's where they must sleep at night time. But yeah, this is Kuala Lumpur Airport, a nice, beautiful airport. It's been around for a while now, but it's still an impressive airport. Like any of your, especially Southeast Asian airports, they really do know how to build proper airports. But here we are. I'm going to go back into my cockpit, and I'm just going to clear a few things, get it to that level. This is, turn that to standby. I think no, those are left on. We'll turn on our generators. Those are all Just going through all of these can come off too. What else is usually left on? Oh, disarm those. Not too sure what that is. But yeah, I think that is relatively the configuration for it. What we will do is we'll just turn on our storm lights just in case it's night time. It's a cool trick, if you double click it, it just goes around in massive increments. So I'll just set that for if it's a nighttime flight. We'll just clear these errors. And I think that's turn off our flight directors, turn them back on again. I think that's what they usually, I will just keep them turned off. We'll turn off these. And I think that's a good, that's probably a good setting. This is a pretty good status to be in. So we will go into menu, go to this PGME setup, and we'll just state save this. Save it as that, execute. This will take a little while, but you've seen that, guys, so I'm going to leave it at that and get ready for my next flight. So thank you for watching something. I mean, when you would have clicked on it, you would have seen New Zealand and gone, oh, not again. But we're flying to India, guys. We're going to relive my my very first sort of flight by myself. So we'll leave it at that, get the next flight set up, and we'll see you shortly.